All right, good morning, everybody. It's 11:30, so we'll go ahead and get started with the pre-commission agenda. I don't have anything for a president's report today. I will just note that Commissioner McKinney is online today. Is there any general housekeeping items or discussion of the agenda from the commission? Commissioner Nelson?
Yeah, I just want to thank the director and all the staff who put together the all committee meeting. Was that just yesterday?
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought it was great. There was a lot of good feedback from the committee members, and it's probably something we need to do maybe annually or more. But thank you for that.
Yeah, I'll agree. I was there with you and
Yeah.
it was great. I heard good feedback from the members as well that they appreciated everybody getting together. So I think that's a good thing to do on a regular basis. Okay, seeing no other comments from the commission, I will turn it over to Director Head for the director's report.
Commissioners, we are very excited to visit with you today, especially as we get into the meat and bones of the budget today. Excited about that, as that's one of the key functions we have here in working with the commission. We continue to focus on building infrastructure, and that will always be the emphasis of everything ACHD does. But we got some pretty exciting stuff to share with you today. Coming up on July 24th will be our Neighborhoods in the Know. We've had a number of, I think last I heard we were around 10 neighborhoods respond who were going to participate. It'll be at the Traffic Operations Center. We're going to let people see around there as well when as part of that meeting, but we're going to also share with them the budget. So that's an exciting meeting coming up and look forward to that. Some exciting news received today. We officially will have our permits to go vertical at Apple. So our first permits will be received today for our administration building, one of our the wash building, and then we'll continue to get others as we go along. But these we're pretty excited about the fact that we're going to start seeing some vertical construction out there. As has been the trend over the last few weeks, the commission already jumped the gun on my presentation, but I'm so grateful for the participation yesterday. It was a great meeting. We had a good conversation. The committees had some questions about the new laws, how those affect things. We shared about the 5-year plan and projects that are up and coming. It was a good hearty conversation, and kudos to Sean and Meg who put that together. It was a good event. Last week we had quite a windstorm that hit the area of Star and just took out a number of trees. And our team was quick to respond to work with the property owners, because some fell into the property, some fell onto roads. But they had that all cleaned up within a day, and it was a huge deal, and a great amount of work as we deal with the unique weather. We've seen a lot of this over the last few weeks. It's been a lot of heavy winds that have come through, but Star got particularly hit that day, and so just wanted to share with you and say thanks to our vegetation crew and all the hard work that they did. As well as some of the partners that joined them in that cleanup. Really great progress is being made on our chip seal this year, 198 miles. That's 2/3 of the way through. So they're making extremely great progress. We've had wonderful weather this year that's helped cooperate, and we are so grateful for that. We've been keeping them safe in the heat. When we get to the peak of those days, but they've been starting even at 6:30 in the morning so they could get extra done before the heat heavily hits. And so we're making good progress there. Fog seal is a little over half of that complete, and the striping's there following up on that. So we're making good progress this year, and so grateful for that. With that, Commission, I'm going to turn the time over to Diane to share some news that we just received in the last hour.
Good morning still, commissioners. I can't believe the director's letting me do this. I'm so excited. We won the build grant. Yeah. Yeah. $18.4 million. It's $23 million overall, but we won the grant for the portion that it covers for all those projects that are listed. We're so excited. Yes, it's really great. Largest grant we've ever won in ACHD history. So we're very excited. The team, just thank everyone that's here. The team and Tom Verge, our retired, who worked very hard on this as well. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, if you're
Well,
excited, we're excited.
Very exciting. Great news.
when Diane came in and told me this morning, I think she was floating. And so I just couldn't not let her continue to share that great news. And so we are so extremely excited to have these great safety connections to key parks and civic facilities and schools and all the key components. And so we are so incredibly excited to have these connections moving forward.
I think
Oh,
we need
amazing.
some tissues over here.
So just definitely kudos to the team. This is on top of the 5 million that they already gave us for the design of these projects. It takes vision, right? And sometimes risk. And we're so excited to have this great opportunity to see some key gaps filled.
Great.
So just a few last things. We have a commemoration event next week at Washington at 16th, starting at 8:30. There on site. It'll be a good opportunity to recognize that great safety project that everyone came together to make happen. Mentioned already the neighborhoods in the know. We have the CUNA Days Parade. That's always exciting to participate in and to be part of those fun events. Stop on Red Week starts on August 3rd. And so we'll be working with all our partners in law enforcement and at the different jurisdictions to continue to promote that important message so that all can be safe as they travel around the county. So, and then already shared with you last week some of the upcoming tours. We're excited to have and continue to share the wonderful investment that you all made in the Traffic Operations Center. But we're really excited to work on adopting a budget. And so we look forward to your conversation today and as we finalize that document in preparation for August 27th. With that, Commission, I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions? All right,
Just a comment.
Commissioner Pickering.
I just want to say thank you to our amazing team. So I thought it was going to be better. You surprised me, Diane. Oh my gosh. This funding for those projects is just I don't think we actually can articulate the impact and the benefit that it's going to bring to these communities and these neighborhoods, but it's just so exciting and obviously very moving that we are going to have the opportunity to begin to articulate and demonstrate that value and make these communities safer and more accessible for everyone. And I just want to commend our amazing team for making this possible and reaching for those big goals, trying to listen to the community and letting their thoughts and ideas drive what is needed. And I think that demonstrates innovation and why we were such a strong candidate for this this funding, because it's what is needed. It's bold. It's just the right thing to do. And so thank you all for making this happen. And I'm just so proud of Team ACHD.
Thanks, Commissioner Pickering. I agree. All right, well, with no other comments, then we'll be at ease until noon. Thanks. All right, good afternoon, everybody. It's now 12 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Thanks for joining us in person and online, and please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item is to adopt the agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next up is the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or a citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All consent agenda items are commission action items unless noted. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Madam President,
Commissioner Pickering.
I'll move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
We've got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries. That moves us to the regular agenda. First item is Spring Valley Valnova Planning Unit Master Plan Number 1, request to waive time allowed to appeal. And welcome, Christy.
Thank you, Madam President, Commissioners. Christy Little, Development Services Manager. I'm actually going to turn the floor over to the City of Eagle, but I just wanted to make sure procedurally we're all on the same page. So the first item is the waiver of policy related to the timeline to appeal. And as Nicole will explain, some things have changed, which is why they didn't appeal this decision sooner. If the commission grants that appeal, then the second item will be the modification of policy related to how many trips on one access. So the city and the developer are both in agreement on this, and I'm going to hand the time over for both items to them. And if you have any questions for me, then I'll come back up.
Thanks, Christy. Welcome, Nicole.
Good afternoon, Madam President and Commissioners. Nicole Baird Spencer, the City of Eagle for the record. Today I'm here to request a waiver of the policy pertaining to the appeal of the timeline for a condition of approval for Valnova's or Spring Valley Subdivision PUD number 1. Since this project was initially developed, I'm hoping this works. So this is kind of an overview of what we're requesting. We're requesting the reconsideration of, or the request to waive the policy for a timeline. And then we'll talk about the modification. But the project, just in case you are unaware of it, the Valnova project is a 6,015 acre development in the Eagle Foothills. It runs between State Highway 16 and Willow Creek Road. The project we're talking about, the area of the project we're talking about is the southern planning area specifically. This area will be developed, the overall project will be developed about 7,100, up to 7,100 homes, with the main access being that from State Highway 16 at Way. Since the original inception of this project, there's been some significant construction out on the site. And certainly if any of you commissioners would love to have a tour, we'd happily facilitate you coming out and seeing on the ground what is happening. But the project was originally entitled in 2007. And as you can see here, the original entitlement showed this southwest planning area of having over 300 units in the area. Once that project was sold, that planning was reconfigured through the city's planning process. So to kind of give you a timeline, 2007, it was originally entitled. There was 300 units eligible for development in the southwest planning area. In 2014, the project was developed Eagle City Code 11A, which is our guidance document, our code for compliance of zoning and subdivision. In 2021, the M3 project, which was the original entitlement name, was purchased by GWC. And at that point in time, GWC came in and processed pump number 1 in the Spring Valley phases, number 1 pre-plat and PUD. The city worked with ACHD at that time to limit the number of units based on a single access point at Way and State Highway 16. We did not deny that was our stance at the time. In fall of 2022, the city was informed that GWC did not wish to develop the area that's now known as the Eagle Athletic Complex property. And the city completed a park feasibility study, NTIS, to pursue the transfer of that land to the city through an park impact fee agreement. So the city purchased 10 acres of our own of the site and then negotiated the remaining 82 acres through a fee exchange with impact fees. In December 22, the city completed the transfer of the 85-acre site, and the city purchased the 10 acres as I spoke about. The city completed pump number 2, changing the 98 acres from the residential development that was originally proposed to park ownership to develop the sports complex. Since that time, the city has also completed engineering design of Highway 16 access and have received ITD's access permit for the site. And they've completed a cost share with Highway 16 and the road improvements. So at this point in time, there's been a lot of changes in this area. I'm happy to discuss them further with you as we go into the request for the change of the condition. But I'll stop here and see if there's any questions.
Any questions? All right, don't see any.
Awesome. Thank you.
At all?
That's it.
Okay. All right, so this is a request to waive the time allowed to appeal.
Madam President,
Commissioner
I guess I
Goldberg?
do have some questions that
Okay.
I thought there was going to be more.
Okay,
Um,
for Nicole or Christie?
Nicole.
Okay.
In granting this waiver of the time to appeal, I gather that the original time to appeal has already passed?
Madam President and Commissioner Goldthorpe, that is correct. The original timeline was completed in 2022. The city didn't acquire the property until late 22. And so at the time, without it being city ownership, we did not have any conversations or discussions of roadway access in this area. And as such, we supported ACHD's commission decision at that time. We are now, with changing conditions, asking for you to reconsider and allow us to appeal the condition at this point.
Was the design and possible traffic impact to the park anticipated as you have it today back then?
Madam President and Commissioner Goldthorpe, no. At that point in time, it was a residential development. It was not until after the condition was approved and the appeal period passed that the city was granted the opportunity to acquire it and do the specific studies for it to be a park.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Okay, any other questions for Nicole? Okay. So is there a motion on the request to waive time allowed to appeal?
Madam President,
Commissioner Pickering?
I will move to approve the request to waive time allowed to appeal.
I'll second that.
All right, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
You can ask for anyone to be opposed?
Oh, sorry. Anyone opposed?
Yes.
Okay,
One.
sorry. I thought I heard everybody. Okay, so motion carries. That moves us to item number 2 on the regular agenda, which is Spring Valley Valnova Subdivision Master Plan number 1, Appeal of Condition, request for approval. And Christie again, or are we just going to Nicole? Okay, Nicole, come back up.
Madam President, conditions, again, Nicole Baird Spencer for the record. The city is requesting a reconsideration of the condition of approval for the park. So since we have acquired the park, we've developed a partnership with the developer. The city and Valnova are currently in a partnership estimated at just over $2.1 million for the current park construction. The impact fee reimbursement for the land purchase, a cost share agreement for engineering design and our ITD permitting, and a cost share agreement for the Highway 16 improvements and roadway. This partnership has been developed since the initial entitlement for Spring Valley PUD phase number 1. So new opportunities for connection and secondary access. So the city at the ability back in 2022, when we were approached at the potential of acquiring the parkland, we completed a TIS, we completed a park feasibility study and a cost estimate. The original entitlement included an access point at Equest Lane, the existing private lane, converting to a public road. And I don't know if this has a point or not, but Equest Lane is between the 2 soccer fields along State Highway 16 today, that existing roadway. And that was to go through into a residential development and continue on into the development. It was
Madam President,
Commissioner Pickering?
sorry to interrupt you, Nicole. Can you just clarify on this picture, what is Equest Lane? Because we see Glencara, and then Highway 16.
Pointer. I don't know if this has a pointer.
Use the mouse. There's the mouse up there.
There's no mouse up here. I would, in short, if you, on the left-hand side of the screen is State Highway 16 and you see the two soccer fields,
Mhm.
it is between the two soccer fields. Is Equest Lane. It's a private.
Oh,
drive.
it's within this.
It's
It's, I
within.
see it now. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
There we go.
There we go.
Really?
So
Thank
Equest
you.
Lane currently takes access at this point on State Highway 16. It's a private drive that serves
Mhm.
the existing parcels within the Farmers Union Canal horseshoe. So this is the Farmers Union Canal here.
Thank you.
So at that time, there was planned for 300 units in this general planning area, including the development of this parcel. By the city's acquisition of the parcel, we removed all that development from the site. That development was moved into the interior closer to the connection to Way that has already been constructed into the site. Just to the north of this site or northeast of the site is the sewage treatment plant for the project. So we are asking for ACHD's reconsideration of policy 7205.3.2, which is if a proposed development has one access point to a public street that is classified as a collector or if it proposes to extend the public street from an existing development with only one arterial street to the public access system, the maximum ADD allowed at any point is on an arterial street is 5,000. So the importance of this is Way is an arterial in the master street map for ACHD. It is a constructed 5-lane arterial from State Highway 16 into the center of the project. The request that we're basing ours on is then what's in yellow, which is this volume may be reduced or increased based on information received from the lead land use agency, which is the City of Eagle, the applicable fire departments and or emergency services. You have in your packet today letters that were provided by both Star Middleton Fire Department, which is the applicable fire department for this section of the Valnova development. You also have a letter from Eagle Fire, who is actually the fire district in charge of the eastern side of the development, so where this connects at Willow Creek. You also have a letter from Eagle Police as well, which is represented through Ada County Sheriff's Office. So this is not a unique situation. I just want to be clear about that. When the city made this request, similar park access roads exist throughout the valley, specifically to Catherine Albertson's Park and Julia Davis Park, in which you can see, oops, switch devices. Catherine Albertson Park connects Americana to the Capitol Boulevard through 2 access points, one through here that goes through and then a loop through this area. Similarly, Julia Davis Park connects Capitol Boulevard to Myrtle through a series of roads into and out of the park. We're asking to have this park treated the same way. We don't plan on this being a ACHD road. This is a private city-owned road that is a park access road. But we are working with the developer to allow for emergency ingress and egress through the park to help satisfy their requirements of ACHD for secondary access into the site.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Nicole, could you go back to the slide showing the development itself? Yeah.
This one?
Yes, thank you. The dark black line is the primary access, correct?
Madam President, sorry, Commissioner Goldthorpe. The dark black line is the request that we are asking for to be considered as the emergency secondary access. If you allow me to go back a bit more. The primary access to the site is Way, which is a 5-lane arterial that comes into the project at this location here.
Okay, and so the dark black line
The dark
is
black line is in this area here.
right. And that little ditty between the two, was it soccer courts?
Yes.
Equest Lane.
Yeah, what is that? Again, I mean, it looks like the access that you're asking for already connects to Highway 16.
Madam President and Commissioner Goldthorpe, it does not. This is actually a realignment of Equest Lane down to Pollard Lane, creating an 90-degree intersection with an existing access point that continues to the west on State Highway 16. Equest Lane is being removed as part of this project development. And that will actually become part of this, as the city owns all the properties within the original subdivision. We have already abandoned the CCNRs and the conditions of approval for the private road.
So where will the ultimately permanent secondary access point be?
You're gotten a little ahead of me, so let me get you there. So temporary secondary access is this location here, but secondary permanent access, which would be long-term, will come from Equest Lane, but also from Willow Creek Road. So at this point in time, State Highway 16 and Way is developed and dedicated over to ACHD. Secondary emergency access through the city park is what we're speaking of today. But there is also in purple, this emergency all-weather access road on Willow Creek Road that will be completed before the weather turns this year, giving a third access point to the site. Long-term, this would be a secondary access here. There's also a requirement for the Linder Road extension into this project.
Nicole, what is the timeline for the completion of Willow Creek then?
At this point in time, I'm going to hand that over to their engineer because that's their project. I'm going to bring up DeLoss Hammond with Alliance, who is the project engineer for this.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Madam President, Commissioners, DeLoss Hammond with Alliance Consulting. We're the project engineers for Valnova.
Could you speak up a little?
Yes, we're the project engineers for Valnova, and we're happy to answer any questions. We'll take this one first, and we're actually ahead of schedule, and the connection to Willow Creek is currently complete. So you can go out there and it's been graded and surfaced with the primary substrate of the gravel all the way. So from the end of the asphalt of the current project to your newly surfaced Willow Creek Road. So we appreciate the work done on Willow Creek. It's actually made quite a difference with your chip seal project. And it's graded and gravelled to that location in a manner that can support all of the fire apparatus that the cities have. So it's 55,000 pound.
What's the timeline for it to be paved and completed in
timeline.
long term?
Long term, I would suspect that it would be in the development future a function of the market and what the city's doing, but certainly would not be in the next couple years. I think it would be in the future of a 2 or 3 year horizon. So it's not in the immediate paving schedule.
Any other questions for the engineer?
Question for Nicole.
Okay. Commissioner Nielsen?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. Nicole, I'm looking at the fire chief letter and the police chief letter. They want to make sure that it seems like the access through the sports park still needs to be done, or they want to make sure it's done before the additional 500 units. Can you speak to the status of that physical connection? And is there a condition of approval or something that would require that to be done before the additional 500 units are permitted? Yeah.
Madam President, Commissioner Nelson, I'm sorry. At this point in time, that project has actually gone out to bid and for the construction of the Park Road. Our
Okay.
anticipation is that by the turn of the weather end of the year,
Yeah.
you're going to have that road paved and completed. Certainly, we entertain if the commission wants to put a new condition in place that 500 until this is completed, and then we could go to the 1,000. We're open to that. We don't have a condition of approval for that in our end. It's just a gentleman's agreement, but we certainly welcome any condition you feel necessary to place on that.
Okay, thanks. I noticed their letters were written in May, so I wasn't sure.
It's
Sure.
been a process.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Madam President?
Commissioner McKinney?
Yes, thank you. Just a couple of questions to clarify to make sure I have all the facts straight on this. Of course, the policy that we read referred to an average daily traffic of 5,000 as being kind of the threshold. It's my understanding, if I'm not mistaken, that this project has an estimate of 10,000 ADT. Is that correct? for this access point?
Okay, I think
Christie's coming up.
Christie's gonna come answer this
Good,
question.
because I don't want to.
Yeah, Commissioner McKinney, you're correct. The policy allows up to 5,000 trips on one access, which is why we restricted the number of lots to 500. Because that equals 5,000 trips. So the request before you today is to allow 1,000 trips, which would be modifying the policy then from 5,000, from 5,000 daily trips to 10,000 daily trips if we allow up to 1,000 lots.
Okay, and then the examples that were given of Julia Davis Park and Catherine Albertson Park, do we know an ADT? Do we know an average daily traffic for those single access locations?
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, we do not. I think the city was presenting those examples not from a volume standpoint, but just connectivity standpoint.
Okay, and then let me just be sure I understand. If we go back to that slide that shows this project, that that black line that we were showing, that's the connection from Highway 16 off to what's a Galenka Parkway? Is that the name of it? Is that's all going to be built from the beginning, correct? We have that access connection there going all the way to Highway 16. Is that correct?
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, I think that's what the city of Eagle was commenting, that if that access is not currently constructed because the park construction hasn't begun, but if the commission wants to if the commission approves the request, that they would certainly be open to a condition that that park road has to be constructed before we would allow any lots beyond the 500. Yes.
I'm sorry, so you're saying that the condition would be that has to be constructed before we could make the change in the allowable volume? I guess I'm not certain exactly what you're saying there.
Commissioner McKinney, that if the commission chooses to approve it, the city is open to a condition that requires the road to be constructed prior to any additional lots beyond 500 being built.
Okay, so the complete connection would have to be done.
Correct.
Okay.
So Commissioner McKinney, just as a point of clarification, the road is shown here on the right-hand side. It is actually in an all-weather surface short of the improvements at State Highway 16 today. The road actually has been built, constructed. It's actually an all-weather surface. It's been completed over one winter. It was completed last fall. So the road exists today. What we would do is complete the Highway 16 improvements with XL decel lanes per our RTD permit and pave the road the remaining distance into Glencara Parkway.
Okay. Then I guess I guess let me ask then because really the key kind of issue is does the access have the capacity to deal with the estimated daily traffic being, double the usual number that's considered the threshold? What where does it stand in that respect?
Madam President, Commissioner McKinney, from a level of service standpoint, there is no issue. So we have two separate policies. One is capacity and level of service, and the other is maximum traffic on one access. So the only one we're dealing with today is the maximum traffic on one access.
And so then the primary issue is just a matter of access for emergency purposes.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Commissioner Nelson.
A question for Nicole. Could you kind of just fill out the rest of the story for me? How are, my point of reference is having worked on other planned communities in Ada County. Is there, as part of this planning effort, emergency response plan or wildfire emergency that is provided to the future lot owners? And how will the emergency accesses be communicated to them in the event of an emergency?
Madam President and Commissioner Nilsson, sorry. This development has an adopted wildfire mitigation plan and a wildfire preparedness plan. We've worked with the developer extensively to ensure that there is proper communication with the citizens in the area when there is an emergency situation. So all of that is part of their conditions of approval and their CCNRs at this point in
Okay,
time.
thank you.
And Nicole, can you just confirm for me that this road, this proposed road, is this secondary access for residents to use, or is it emergency access only? I can't remember if you said it was gated and.
Madam President, this is actually for public use. Residents will be able to use it up until the time in which a secondary access point is determined. And then we had both fire districts request a reconsideration of the access control on the road, and that will be done as part of that completion of another access point. So at this point in time, we're requesting emergency secondary access.
All right, are there any other questions?
Yes.
Commissioner Goldthorpe?
On that access that you're proposing, it seems to me like the majority of the folks that will be wanting to use the athletic park would be using that access unless the athletic park is going to be designed and built after, so that isn't a consideration. Which is that?
Madam President and Commissioner Goldthorpe, at this point in time, the road construction and the first 4 ball fields of the park will be constructed basically almost simultaneously. We've already done preliminary engineering and grading work for the first 4 fields. And so those will occur at the same time.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Don't see any other questions. Commissioners, is there a motion on this item? Commissioner Pickering? No. Oh, Commissioner Nelson. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take a stab.
Okay.
I really appreciate kind of the problem solving that's occurred over the last 3 or 4 years to deal with the importance of secondary access. So I appreciate that. I'm kind of reluctant to second guess the city and amend the condition. I mean, due to the roads, I think everybody's focused on this issue with the police and emergency response and the fire. So I'll just get things started and make a motion to approve the appeal. Is that all I need to say? The
yeah.
appeal of the condition? Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Scott.
Come on up, Scott.
Madam President, Commission, under policy section 7104, there are certain findings that the commission must make to support a modification of development policy. Would you like me to read those?
Yes.
Okay. Says if the commission makes findings of fact and conclusions, then it may waive policy. The first is a parcel of real property proposed for development is so unusual in size, shape, or location or physical condition that strict enforcement of one or more development policies would result in extraordinary economic or design hardships and practical difficulties as distinguished from mere inconvenience. That's the A. Finding B is modification or waiver of such development policies will not be injurious to other adjacent property or detrimental to public safety, health, or welfare. And finding C, conditions upon the request for modification or waiver are unique to the property for which the modification or waiver is sought and are not applicable generally to other property. Those are the 3 findings that in your motion you need to discuss adequately.
Those in the staff report?
I don't think that was in the report. Commissioner Goldthorpe.
So Scott, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Which one of those 3 can we use?
Well, you need to use all three.
Use all three.
There's a connection in the policy of and. So finding A is the unique size, et cetera, and modification will not be injurious. And conditions are unique to the property. So you must find all three of those.
Well, I'm all ears. Thank you.
That section.
What,
This-
Scott?
Scott, what
can
was
you-
the section in the policy manual?
Madam President, Commissioner, that is section 7104.1.
Yeah, that printout would be helpful for Commissioner Nielsen, I think.
Madam President,
Commissioner McKinney.
given the, list of conditions that all have to be met in order for us to approve this waiver, I'm kind of reaching back to my past experience in planning and zoning when we would have these sorts of situations where there was a list of conditions that were required for a waiver or an approval or what have you. A formal consideration of each of those with articulated facts and reasons behind them would always be done before the body would approve the matter or make a decision on the matter one way or another. And I feel like here, if we don't really have that right in front of us, it would be difficult for us to say with certainty that we've been able to, consider all of those factors to be able to reach our decision one way or another. So I wonder if it wouldn't be prudent at this point to delay this item long enough for staff to do that analysis so that we have that to refer to specifically on each of those criteria before we make the decision.
Madam.
1 second, I think, Justin, do you have a comment to that?
Yeah, Madam President, members of the commission. You can probably tell we don't do these all that often. So we're here to work with you through the
Yeah.
process. So I think Commissioner McKinney's statement is good. I think what would help staff is if the commission is essentially providing direction to staff to draft findings in support of this request. I think some verbal ideas and thoughts from the commission would be helpful today for staff to then go ahead and draft those findings up. But if you'd like us to do that in a written format, it's not required, but if that's what the commission would like, we could then draft up something, bring it back to the commission for your approval.
Commissioner Nielsen.
Ken Hennis.
I think that would be absolutely essential. I know there's been a number of times over the years when, and I'm pointing the fingers at myself, when I have stumbled at making motions such as this that weren't anywhere near as complicated as this, having to fulfill all, 3 of these requirements. And it was easy enough to understand that in those cases, Steve could tell me how we needed to word it to meet these conditions. I cannot see for the life of me being able to do that today, right now on this.
All right.
Commissioner Nielsen.
All right, I'll take a stab at this. Just do this all the time. All right, this is going to be, I'll move that we approve the appeal of the condition based on the following findings, that the real property is unusual in size and configuration relative to its location to State Highway 16 and other public roads in the area, that it would result in extraordinary and practical difficulties to provide secondary access at this time, emergency access, based on the exhibits in the report that include the letter from the deputy fire chief, as well as from Eagle Police, that the property, this request will not be injurious to other adjacent property or detrimental to public health, safety, and welfare. In that the conditions for this request of the modification are unique to the property, as I mentioned, and are not applicable generally to other property. And that this waiver will not contravene the overall intent and effect of sections 7100 and 7200 of this policy manual. And I would direct staff to prepare written findings in support of this motion to bring back for commission action next week.
Second.
If I may make a comment, Madam President?
Commissioner McKinney.
I think the motion to request it to be brought back, I'm absolutely in favor of that, with written findings from staff. But I also feel hesitant to put my finger on the scale. What I'd like to see is staff to come back and, to do the analysis and see where it lands on each of those criteria. Let's weigh the facts, and we've got to list facts that support the conclusions one way or the other. But I think that's the way it's got to come. In any case, I'm certainly in favor of getting further analysis by the staff before we make our decision.
Justin.
Madam President, members of the commission, although I appreciate the request from Commissioner McKinney, I think I understand where he's coming from. Waivers of policy of this type essentially fall within the domain of the commission to determine where you want to land. Staff's analysis at this point has been provided, which is ACHD staff has not taken a formal position on this. We handed over the reins to the requesters to explain their justification, to provide you with all the facts and everything. Staff in no way, we're good to go. We don't really have any additional information to provide at this point because that information is not information we have access to. It really is information that came to you from the city and the developer through all of the written comments and the record that was associated with the packet. So we're not trying to pass the buck. I'm not trying to say that staff isn't, trying to make a recommendation here, but we felt in this unique circumstance, it was best for the city, the developer to bring forward the information, provide you with all the facts at hand. Staff did clearly state today that there was no level of service justification for this, and the commission is well within its authority to waive this policy related to the 5,000 trips and provide staff with additional direction. And that's kind of where we stand on it. So I hope that helps kind of clarify where we're coming from. I think the motion today was adequate, and we're glad to bring back those written draft findings for your review. We'd likely bring them back on the consent agenda that you could just act on unless there was someone who wanted to pull it off at that point and have further discussion. That would be our standard practice.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Thanks, Justin. And I appreciate what Commissioner McKinney said. I've always promised everyone I deal with one thing about my votes, and that is if I don't understand something completely, I'll vote no. And that's the case here. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Justin. Okay, so we've got a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Commissioner Pickering?
Yeah, Madam President. Yeah, I want to echo Commissioner Nelson's points about working together also with our team to figure this out in this process. I appreciate you guys coming to the commission just so that we understand what's going on. And, can be much more of a partner, especially as you get this project nearer to completion, right? I think this isn't covered necessarily. I appreciated the letter from the fire department. As someone that was a wildland firefighter, I still have concerns generally about the location of this development. And I think speaking to just having 2 access points, that's obviously very necessary, but oftentimes even those can be usurped by a fire. So I think I still have some hesitation just based off of the geographical challenges that you guys are dealing with and the heightened increase of wildfires in general. So I'm happy that you guys are doing this, looking at more access points, but I'll be supporting the motion. But I know that's a challenge that you guys are working through, but the more that you can be proactive, creating more defensible space as it relates to the development of those properties, I think is going to be essential, which obviously falls outside of our purview. So it takes all of us to make sure that those residents and folks are safe, regardless of the geographical landscape. So thank you.
Madam President,
Commissioner McKinney?
so before we vote on this, I just want to clarify what the motion is. The motion is for the staff to prepare points for us to consider then further in approving the request. Is that correct?
No, the motion is to approve the request and to direct staff to bring back findings that were articulated by Commissioner Nielsen for the commission to then approve on a consent agenda. Or to consider on it as part of the consent agenda.
Okay, that confuses me because if we're approving the request, if we're approving the appeal, then what is the point of this additional document? I don't understand that.
Madam President, members of the commission, I can speak to that. I think it's just good practice for the commission in a situation like this to formalize their findings. I think that's what Scott mentioned. I certainly don't think it's required. There was a motion today that was stated, it was articulated. I think it covered the points, but it's at the commission's direction on how you want to formalize that, the statements that were made today. And so that's what we would be doing.
Commissioner Nielsen?
Yeah, in my practice, it would, my goal is to have a written document before all the commissioners to chew on and act on. Now, if there is someone who wants to pull it off consent, that part I don't really care about, because probably reading the room, it's probably going to get pulled from consent anyway. So that's really a non-issue to me. My goal is to have a written document supporting the request, but that details all of the items in the record that support the findings. And so everybody can read a complete description of that and vote on it. So this is just voting to prepare a draft for approval. And then once we have that written decision, the commission would have another go at it once they have all of those words in front of them. So.
Okay, so that gets back to my original question. So we're voting on preparing that document and voting on the approval of the request later. This motion isn't to approve the appeal itself. This motion is simply to approve preparation of the document and then have in a later meeting to approve or deny the appeal. Is that correct?
No, this is to prepare a draft written decision. And that draft, providing that direction to staff, is for approval based on the findings that would be in writing before all of the commissioners to then act on.
Okay, so in any case, this vote is not approving the petition itself. It's simply deciding to prepare this document for later approval. Is that correct?
Okay, that is not how I understood the motion. I don't think that's how Commissioner Pickering understood the motion. So if there's a substitute motion that clarifies that, if that's your intent, that was not that's not how I think it was understood.
Madam President, the other direction they would get is to prepare findings supporting denial. So I'm just saying prepare written findings supporting approval of the request. Yeah.
Okay. So everybody is clear that it's to. Okay.
Yeah.
Madam President,
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
I'm clear, but my opinion, I would rather see the reasons before I vote to approve on something. So I'm still a no.
Okay. Are there any other comments? Okay. I appreciate Commissioner Nielsen's motion now that we've got that all sorted out and the, kind of the items that she listed in direction to staff. I also appreciate Commissioner Pickering's comments about just general, fire concern and the size and location. I have toured this area and it's pretty vast. And so I think these access points are going to be really important as this continues to develop. And I know that that's on the horizon and you all are planning for that. So I'll be supporting the motion. I would have been in support of a condition to have the road constructed prior to an increase over 500, but that's not in the motion, but I will support the motion as it has been stated and clarified. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
No.
All right, motion carries. All right, that moves us to item number 3, authorization, order of condemnation, Cloverdale Road, Victory Road to Overland Road, ACHD project number 521021.001, parcel 11, property owner Megis. This is a public hearing. I will open the public hearing and welcome Dave Serdar.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President, Commissioners. For the record, David Serdar, right-of-way supervisor for the Ada County Highway District. This is a public hearing and condemnation briefing for property on the Cloverdale Victory to Overland project. This parcel is owned by Peter and Martha Megis. This project is part of an ACHE's adopted 2025 to 2029 5-year plan. Construction is scheduled to begin in fiscal year 27. Once again, this property is located just north of Victory, on the east side of Cloverdale, and we can see this is Peconic there. We had that a couple weeks ago, so just north of Peconic as well. So, and Victory's down here. Here's a close-up view of the property. The tan area is roadbook right-of-way. The blue area is the roadway requirement. The yellow hatching is the permanent easement. Sorry, right there. The green hatching is the temporary construction easement, which is right there and right there. The property size before the acquisition is just over 0.947 of an acre. The fee requirement is 0.072 of an acre. Permanent easement is 0.017 of an acre. And the temporary construction easement is 0.006 of an acre. ACHD originally mailed the offer in 2023, and the property owner rejected the offer, citing insufficient compensation. ACHD and owner had several discussions regarding counteroffers and well replacement. In 2025, ACHD contacted the owner with another ACHD counteroffer. ACHD rejected that counteroffer. ACHD then sent our 10-day letter. There has been no response from the owner. The parties are currently at an impasse. Just as a matter of information, the well has been relocated, so by the property owner. So that part of this action is done. It is staff recommendation that the commission declare that the acquisition area is necessary for the project as right away to the public, authorize staff to proceed with the condemnation action, execute an order of condemnation for the acquisition area. I will remain standing for any questions.
Commissioner Goldthorpe.
Yes, Dave, I'd certainly like to know some more of the details about the offers and the costs to cure, that
Okay.
sort of thing.
Okay. I'm gonna go to this, give you that information. So, this property was appraised. It's roughly about $140,000 was ACHD's offer. That did include amount for the removal and relocation of the well. There was also within the appraisal, there was a damage to the remainder. And that is because the property is 17 and a half feet from the right-of-way line. The property is 35.5 feet from basically the curb. So you can see the distances, but that 17 and a half feet is a distance that does typically trigger damages.
And the 17 and a half feet at the top of that arrow, that is what, the sidewalk, or is?
That's, Madam President, Commissioner Goldthorpe, that is actually the distance from the house to the right-of-way line.
To the right-of-way line.
Correct.
So the sidewalk will be where?
Sidewalk will, I'll let Brian go.
President Gold, Commissioners, Brian McCarthy, the Manager of Right-of-Way and Project Management. As Dave mentioned, that 17 and a half feet is from the house to the right-of-way line. The back of the multi-use pathway will be 2 feet from the right-of-way line. So that will be 19 and a half feet to the back of the sidewalk or the multi-use pathway to the building.
And the bottom arrow at the tip, is that the home?
That is, yep, that is correct. The bold black line is the edge of the building.
Have any other questions?
No other questions.
Okay.
Madam President?
Commissioner Pickering?
Yeah, thank you. Dave, could you give us some context on like this, just the stretch of this road, how many other parcels you have to go through negotiations? Is this like the last one? I know the blocks are like, a mile apart. Could you just give us a little bit more backstory on like where this fits along the entire corridor here?
Yeah,
The timeline?
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, sorry, I'm going back to going the wrong way. Struggling with that. Yeah, go back to the vicinity map. There we go.
Okay.
So we've had, Madam President, Commissioners, we're obviously had several parcels right in this area that we brought before you in the last couple months. So we are mostly done with the acquisition in this project. I don't have the full numbers. I'll make sure I'll email that out today to everybody so they have that as to what's completed or not. But we do have most of this project done. The areas of that in question are these ones that have been before you in the last couple of weeks. So, oh, go ahead. Just this one. Yeah.
Thanks, Dave.
Any other questions for Dave? All right. Do we have anybody here or online who wants to speak on this item? All right. Seeing none, then I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Go ahead.
Madam President, I move to approve the authorization order of condemnation for Cloverdale Road, Victory Road to Overland Road, ECHD project number 521021.001, parcel 11. As
I'll
presented.
second that.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Commissioner McKinney?
yeah, I think it's worth noting for the record that even with an order of condemnation, that of course the staff always, as a matter of course, continues negotiations and discussions with property owners to hopefully reach an agreed upon settlement in this. So I think we're quite clear that this is a project that needs to move forward. And naturally, I encourage the staff to continue to work as they will toward some kind of an agreement with the property owner.
Thanks, Commissioner McKinney. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up is discussion items, public communications. Do we have anybody in person or online who would like to address the commission? Okay, seeing none, meeting is adjourned. We will move to the post-commission agenda. We've got a work session for fiscal year 26-27 budget work session, presentation by staff, and welcome Christine Tamler. Actually, before you get started, we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Perfect.
All right.
I like
Thanks,
that.
Christine.
No, you're fine.
Christie saved my bacon.
All right, we're back from our 5-minute break and I'll welcome Christine back up to start the budget work session.
Madam President, Commissioners. Ooh, okay. For the record, Christine Tamler, Budget Manager at the Highway District. Hang on. I have notes today. I'm here to present on the FY26 balanced draft budget. Now, this is the first draft of the budget. There are a few changes that have already come up, so I'll be pointing some of those out, and then they will be memorialized in a memo in the revised packet. The proposed revenue is $250 million. There are, again, some adjustments being made, mostly within capital projects and on the expense side, as well as some adjustments to the future facilities reservation to update that to be the same as the expense on the for the capital facilities side. The property tax certification that's currently shown in FY27 of 63 million will be updated. That amount is too high. So I will recalculate that and get those trued up numbers in FY20 or in the adjusted packet. But again, FY27's a guidance year, so there's no significant impact to anything there. The property tax certification does include all available increases to the district. The 3% that's specified for the capital project, we're recommending the commission use it to supplement the cost of Linder Highway 44 to Floating Feather. The 3% annual increase of 1.5, as well as the maintenance and operational expense of $500,000 will increase the base in perpetuity. The new construction rule is estimated at $1.5 million and is also included. As you can see, the proposed.
Oh, one second, Christine.
I talked to Director Head and we still don't know the revenue we'll get from the sunset of the urban renewal district in downtown Boise. Is that correct? When would we know? Do you have a sense of that time frame?
Madam President, Commissioner Nilsson, I don't have a sense of that time frame.
Yeah.
Actually, opportune is that this is the first one that I've experienced in my tenure at the district of the sunsetting. And Sherwin Pesca and myself are going to a class from the Idaho Tax Commission at the end of the month to kind of
Okay.
figure out some of those processes and kind of get some of those URA questions answered.
Okay.
To see how that works, because depending on when it was created will depend on what value we get, 80% or 90% and of increment value. So we'll try and figure that out, but any adjustments to that could be coming in budget adjustments.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Proposed revenues are shown here. As you can see, the property taxes and highway users fund, which is the fuel taxes, make up two of the largest, as well as cash reserves. Now, the cash reserves that's shown here at 13% includes state funding for the joint Nampa project, the Highway 16 funding that we received from the state, as well as a portion of the strategic initiative funding, the 19.8 million that we're anticipating to receive toward the end of this month that was obligated during the FY25 state legislature. As mentioned before, the budget is balanced and we are seeing a split of all expenditures at the district. Oh, hang on a sec. Oh, yes, that's right. Sorry. As with the trend at the highway district, this slide shows that expenditure breakdown of capital projects continues to be about 50% of our overall budget. Capital facilities includes the completion of the remodel of Meeker of about $500,000, and then about just over $38 million will be used for the Apple project that apparently we got approval to go vertical. So that's great. So we'll be spending that money in 26. It's currently scheduled to be completed sometime in 27. We'll adjust the spend as the schedule adjusts, should it need to be adjusted. The capital budget shows that a bulk of the funding coming or being spent on capital investment programs, CIP projects, as well as capital maintenance. As we continue to go through the creation of the 5-year plan, the budget will follow the new categorization of the projects. Next, I'm going to go over and highlight some of the major proposed construction projects that will be started in FY '26. As mentioned, we are proposing to use 3% foregone for the Linder Highway 44 to Floating Feather and Intersection project. That is something that we do have to specify on our property tax certification that goes to the assessor in the state. We are continuing to spend the funding from the state on the Highway 16 affiliated projects. This is U-Stick 10 Mile to Linder. Linder Overland to Franklin and U-Stick Phyllis to Canal also have supplemental funding. The Linder Overland to Franklin is ITD's contributed portion of that for the overpass itself. And then the U-Stick Phyllis to Canal again is that Nampa partnership project. I'm also happy to say that with some of the adjustments that I've spoke about at the beginning, that we will be pulling in Liberty Denton to Douglas for construction in '26, and you'll see that in the final draft. And access to opportunities. So again, this is raised grants. So as this is completing the design on those projects. Talking with Diane, those projects will be programmed for construction in this 5-year plan. We are also beginning some very large designs, Linder Chinden to Highway 44. We are utilizing some funding of that 19.8 million that we're receiving. Star Chinden to Highway 44, we're beginning that design as well. There's a design process going on for State Glenwood to 27th that is broken up into 4 different sections to kind of figure out where we're going with all of it, see where we can program each of those various segments. Deer Flat and K intersection is going to be a roundabout per the CIP, so that'll increase the traffic flow out there as well as pedestrian and bicycle facilities. And then again, the 5 Mile Overland in Franklin, we're continuing to utilize the federal funding we received on that to complete the design, excuse me. For bridges, we do have the Fairview Avenue bridges. There's currently 2 bridges there. As we rebuild it, it'll be 1. And then the Eckert Road Bridge, which the one over the state, over the Boise River, is funded by LTAC. And then we do have some portions of Eckert area bridges that will be paid for by the district, by local funds. The next steps in the budget process will be a follow-up budget packet on August 6th. I'll be detailing out any and all changes from this packet to that one, as well as reviewing the publication that will need to go to the paper on August 7th in accordance with statutory obligations to get ready for the August 27th budget public hearing. With all that, I will stand for questions.
Any questions?
Madam President,
Commissioner Pickering.
Christine, do you mind, obviously like the memo on some of the updates that you'll send out, how quickly will that be parceled into the budget? And like, can you remind us again when you're coming back?
I'm sorry, I missed that second part.
When you're coming back before us with the
August 6th.
updated numbers?
August 6th.
August 6th. Okay, sorry, my brain's just fried.
It's okay.
Okay.
Madam President, Commissioner Pickering, yes. My goal is always to give you that information a week in advance. So my hope is to get that, even if it's just a soft copy out to you on the 30th of July. I don't believe there's a meeting that day, but my goal would be to get that to you at least so you can see those changes.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner.
Madam President,
Yes, I just wanted to make sure Commissioner Nilsson knew of our reward that has been offered for years now, if you can stump Christine.
You can stump her?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hasn't happened in almost 11 years that I know of, so.
Commissioner McKinney.
yeah, I was just going to say, there are a number of, detailed things here and there in the proposed budget where I have some questions, but I think what I'll do is I'll just, offline, I'll submit some questions and we can make sure that information all gets cycled back, because it may or may not be terribly important, but I do want to have some questions answered.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think Commissioner Nielsen plans to do the same thing, so. All right, no other questions? Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate your work on it. Yep. All right. That's all for today. So we'll see you back here next week. Thanks.
Good time.